There is one saying that perfectly sums up the David situation. Art imitates life, and life imitates art. If you don't know who David is, he's an internet-renowned music artist who went viral on TikTok a couple years ago for his song Romantic Homicide, and he later had other songs that did decently enough to get into the public's eyes for him to go on tour and things like this. But the reason why he's in the eyes of the court of the public opinion is because recently a girl who was missing was found dead in the trunk of his Tesla, and she was underage. And then a lot of pictures started coming out that they had some weird relationship that leans to more of a child predator kind of feel, like PDF kind of thing. So there's just a lot of allegations and a lot of, crimes that are being thrown out there. The internet detectives on Twitter and all the social media platforms are kind of already convicting of this guy being guilty. I'm not a police officer, detective, or judicial system to point that at him, but in my eyes, he's definitely prime suspect number one. But the reason why I make this video is to say, recently on my channel, I made a video talking about separating the art. And before that video, I made a video longer called Doomerwave, which was a subgenre of internet music that is dealing with depressing, sad, heartbreaking type of music, which David that's predominantly his biggest songs, or songs that like in that genre, I guess you could say. Not Doomerwave specifically, but a lot of Doomerwave remixes his songs because they fit the vibe. And my thing is, this is a weird dilemma for me because I'm a person who does separate the art from the artist, because I do think the art can have good meaning and messaging despite the artist being a bad person and making bad decisions. I don't think objects in art can have a morality value kind of thing. So I don't think you can say art is good or bad unless the intention behind the artist was to, make it a bad or good influence on people. Was David influencing people to do what he is alleged to do? I would say no. Do I think that he was throwing hints and things in his music videos and music lyrics that says that, like, hey, what I'm telling you guys is you guys don't know, but it's true. Like, there's literally a lyric in his song Romantic Homicide of, in the back of my mind, I killed you. And later on he says, I can't believe I admit it, but it's true. And it's like, wow, in hindsight, he's admitting to this. That's an admission, that's guilt, and I sit there baffled and thinking like, wow, his catalog isn't so vast and so attached to my memories of childhood and things like this for me to really hold anything to it, to say like, I could put this to the side. I'll probably never listen to this again. I don't need to separate the art in this case scenario. I can keep them, tied, because to be honest, when I listen to the music and when I listen to the music, when I watch the music videos, it's eerily blatantly in your face. It's like creepy to watch it because it's just like, oh my God, like, I'm not a fan of horror movies or like horror true crime documentaries, but I think this is why some people watch that kind of stuff, because there's truth in it. And part of me wants to say, well, I don't think that should exist. I don't think they should make true crime documentaries and fantasize and dramatize these horrific kind of scenes in history, whether it's, Charles Manson and serial killers, or, like war crimes and all these war people, or anything horror and just evil acts being done in the, the events. But at the same time, it is part of history. It is a part of human nature. There are people that are the opposite of good. There is that weird balance of good and bad and evil and all these different things. There is a gray area, and some things come to light, Not everything. I'm not one of those people that think everything comes to light. Trust me, there's a lot of people who got away with their heinous crimes that definitely didn't serve any justice. But I don't, like, I say this to say is I'm being vulnerable with people of, this is a situation where I'm going back on my word about separating the art. I talked about it in the previous video, which you guys should go check out. And I think it's just something that everybody needs to ask themselves. Ask yourself the question, do I only separate the art for the artist I like? Do I only care about situations like this when it's hits close to home. Like the girl, the victim, she's from the same county as me. But when I saw that, I said, wow, that girl is around the same age as some of my relatives. And I'm like, oh, that would have been so, out of this world. And I don't even want to think about that, that situation, if that, like that hypothetical. So I'm not going to go deep into that, but maybe I'm just reading too deep into this. Maybe I should just say, cut them off, get out of here. The songs, they're all right, but there is balance and there is gray area. Gray area should be the title of this video, because I'm usually a black and white type of person, especially with my beliefs in certain things. I am willing to change, but some things I'm stubborn, and I'm willing to admit that. But in this situation, really made me look into my views about music and art and stuff like that, and say, what happens when it's someone that does have a really close attachment to my childhood memories, more than just their political beliefs and just their like words? What happens when their actions are too far for me to, to look past? You guys let me know what you guys think. And I think you guys should really check out those videos, separate the art and doomer way, to understand my dilemma of this gray area that I'm dealing with since the news. But RIP to the family of Celeste, and condolences to them and everybody. So yeah, tragic situation.